provides access. Listen to what the Bible says back in 19 and 20. There's a portion in there right in the middle of 19 and 20, and it says, this hope we have is an anchor of the soul, both sure and steadfast, and which enters the presence behind the veil where the forerunner has entered for us. The Old Testament high priest didn't enter the veil as a forerunner. They only entered as a representative. But when Jesus entered, he comes into the immediate presence of God, and the Bible says he's a forerunner. See, the representative went for himself, but no one else could go in. But when Jesus died and rent the veil from the top to the bottom, and he enters to the veil, now he enters as a forerunner. What does that mean? That means that when I feel like my hope is dwindling, when I feel like my hope is starting to dissipate, because Jesus entered in, you now have access. What does access mean? He says, now come boldly before the throne of grace, that you may obtain mercy and find the grace in the time of help when you need it. That means I don't have to run to a substance. I don't have to run to a rabbit's foot. I don't have to run to a horseshoe. I can run to the one that sits on the circle of time. I can run to the one that scooped out the earth. I can run to the one that says, peace, be still. You mean to tell me that I ain't got to wait on the pastor to pray? You mean to tell me I ain't got to get all the brothers together on Tuesday night and pray at the brotherhood? The Bible says you got access. That means, listen, you may not be on the council. You may not can walk down into the White House. You may not can go down to City Hall. But one thing is for sure. You can walk boldly before the throne of grace because of Jesus Christ. You got access. I went back to the pastor's office, and I was trained well. He pointed, but I had to wait till he went in first. Because the only way I had access, he had to give me permission. Even if the other brother took me back there, I would have stood at the door and waited on the one that can give me access. And that's the beauty of the gospel, my brothers and sisters. That regardless of what you're going through, if you're saved, hope is your anchor, but it also gives you access, watch this, to the one that's got the answer. Because maybe the answer that you think will satisfy will only create another scenario that puts you right back where you were. And God says, I don't want you to even have to use your own ingenuity, because some of y'all think y'all so smart. But be smart enough to know you got access. You trying to figure that woman out? Bible says, dwell with her according to knowledge. Well, who got more knowledge of her than him? You trying to figure that man out? How about go to the one that knows every single detail, even, watch this, the one he hadn't felt safe enough to share with you? God says, you got access, man. And that's wonderful. I was at a medical conference this week, and they gave me one of those little plastic, I don't know what you call it, widgets. And you had to tap it in order to get from one room to the next. And so, you know, I don't know about you. When I check into a hotel, I like to do some recon. And I go around and see where the gym is and see where I just like to get my bearings and everything. Well, I didn't know that this particular hotel was hooked next to some high-rise apartments. And so when I went through one door, I went up to the next door, and it looked a little different in there. So, inquisitive as I am, I wanted to see what was in there. So I put my little widget, because I done paid for the widget. I put the widget up there, and I got mad. I was getting ready to go back downstairs and tell them, hey, wait a minute, man, my widget don't work. Until I looked a little bit closer. And the widget I had did not give me access. He is God of everything, but he's only father to his children.